Hi, Ola. Good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Hi, Bimbola.
Hi, welcome to the BlueSitron Podcast, and it's amazing to have you here. I'm always saying amazing to all my guests, and that I guess is because everyone is amazing. So,
I feel honored.
Want anything otherwise. I wouldn't want it otherwise. So, yeah, thank you so much. So, Ola, I would like you to. I'm gonna make an effort to pronounce your name. So it's Ola Stella.
Stella.
Correct?
So you can imagine it being an SHT.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Stella, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I made an effort. That's lovely. So we have Ola Stella here, and Ola is one of the leading women within the IT world in the West. So, and she's got a couple of projects that I personally have been involved in, and it is called the Bytes and Banter. I'm not going to say too much. I'm going to allow Ola to tell us more about that. So, Ola, I'm going to start with, basically talking about, or you telling us about your career path, because I know you're in IT. What got you into this career path? How did that begin? And, what's led you to start this Bytes and Banter project? That would be a good way to start.
Okay, sure. Then I can take it from here. Thank you very much for having me this evening. My career path it's actually quite interesting because I didn't start out with IT in mind. My background is actually in languages, so I majored in German and French. And at that point in my life, I was thinking of being a lecturer. Right. I guess at the back of my mind, I've always wanted to be able to either pass on knowledge or information to people or help people in general. Mm-hmm. And so I did my first degree in German and French, and then I went on to do a master's in Germanic languages and literature. So still with that background of wanting to teach. And then when I now started looking for a job, that's when I realized that what I had wasn't enough, and I had to rethink what it is that I wanted to do. So we're a family of 4, and I'm pretty much the only one who did humanities. My brothers did economics and civil engineering, and I think electrical engineering. And I was one who, I guess maybe because I was shying away from everything mathematics, didn't really go into that area. Okay. So I think there was a time I had this pipe dream of being a translator at the UN until I actually saw what they were doing, especially the simultaneous translators. Until I saw what they were doing, I was like, man, my memory just can't hold that much stuff to be able to, say all the stuff that, I'm already on the second level and then, they're talking. So what I did basically was I did an internship. After I finished my master's, I did an internship with the UN to try and see whether it would be something of interest to me. And at that time, I worked with IAEA, that's the International International Atomic Energy Association. It belongs to the UN itself, and I helped them build up a database. So it was basically looking for, at that time it was Netscape.
Oh wow!
Going online to try to look for newspapers or articles or information to help try and see whether we can find out about the country's nuclear proliferation information that we didn't have. So I put stuff together at that time. So the languages did actually was helpful then, but after that 1 month there, it wasn't really my dream to work in the UN. It was nice, but it wasn't something that I saw that would be my career path. And then I did an internship with SAP.
Okay.
And I started out I started out as an intern, and what I was told then was, please help us call the customers in German or in French and let them know that our engineers need to access their system so we can try and fix their problems. It was, I didn't really have to do much. I just had to use the languages. And then I just figured that it was very interesting. I wanted to start to get into what it is that these engineers were doing, because they were support engineers at that time. Okay. And you would get from the customer, you would get this, blah, 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 this is not working, or I've done this and it didn't work. Please troubleshoot. Yeah. And then I started to pick up tickets myself. And then it was really great because there was no expectation that I needed to fix, either that I needed to, provide support for 3 tickets. So I was pretty open. I started to pick the tickets. I started to reproduce in the system. And I found out that through that reproducing, I was learning. So I was pretty much learning on the job. And it got me so excited because I was like, I don't have an IT background. I never expected to be here. But hey, it works. I can do it. So that's basically 2001. That's how I started my career with SAP, and I've been with them ever since.
Oh wow.
So for me, it was the statement, it doesn't matter if you haven't done it before. Try it out and stay the course, and then try and see whether it works for you. So it's been a steep learning curve for me. But I really enjoyed the work. I also enjoyed my team because we were an international team. So you had people from all over the place. Okay. And I learned so much. And that's how I ended in the world of IT. Yeah.
So
it's been very interesting.
That essentially shows that you can do anything, essentially. You just have to put your mind to it.
Yeah.
That's what this means.
Yeah, you have to bite your teeth together, grit your teeth and try and figure it out.
Right. Wow. It's impressive, actually. And as you said, you learned on the job, and you found it interesting, and you stayed, and you just grew with it, and you learned on the job. That's amazing. So for our listeners, I think this is a very important thing to take in mind, especially for those that feel, I studied this, therefore I cannot do that. I guess it's only probably professions like medicine that you can't just get into, because you literally have to go to school,
spend a lot of time in school.
Exactly. And then spend a lot of time in the hospitals and in teaching hospitals, essentially. So I guess that's the only one, and that's because it deals with humans.
But you know what? It still doesn't stop you. You can decide. I mean, if it was a passion of yours that you wanted to realize at some point in time, even if you're old, you still have that option, right? I mean, if it's really something that is on your mind, you just have to go back to school. You need to be able to take that step and say, okay, fine, I've built up a career, I've had all of these things, but that's still something on my mind, and you can go back to school.
Oh, wow. Okay, wow. Well, words of encouragement. You've already given it. It's one of the questions I was going to ask down the line, but you've already given it to us. And that is, you can, if it's something that's on your mind, you can still do it, regardless of how old you think you are. So you've mentioned about, how you got into this, and you've learned along the line. So I was going to ask you what skills helped you to grow, but I'm thinking your language skills was very useful. Is there any other skill that helped you in your career?
Apart from the language skills, I think the older I become, the more introverted I become. I actually don't know. I'm a very social, very open person. Right. I ask people questions. I want to learn. It doesn't stop with just having a sentence. I want to find out why. I'm very inquisitive, so I dig further. And then I always challenge myself. And, it's a case of, okay, look, you've never done that before. Why is it so difficult? Can you break it down? Do you understand the minute points so that you get the whole picture and then be able to explain to somebody? So it's like trying to be sometimes really be 2 steps ahead of myself. But I find it keeps you engaged. It keeps you engaged, and it keeps you thinking. Of course, it just means that sometimes maybe your brain doesn't come down because you're still thinking. But I find so far this journey for me right now has been always a case of, can I do it? Well, let me try and see. I mean, worst case is I will fail, but let me not say because I'm scared I won't try.
Okay,
that is something that I do, and I want to solve problems. this is a problem because you can't solve all the world's problems and you can't solve every problem. But wanting to get to that point whereby you say, okay, at least you understand the issue. You're empathic to listen to the issue. That's another thing. Wanting to listen to people, wanting people to be able to talk and, not interrupting, but allowing them to speak. Right. This is for me very important, because if you're dealing with people, they're coming from different backgrounds. You don't know what's at that point in time, what's bothering them. Mm-hmm. And depending on your relationship with them, it could also affect your work relationship, for example.
So true. So true.
So I sometimes I really try to see if I can put myself in that person's situation and see how I would react. Mm-hmm. And I'm very creative. I love creativity.
Oh, wow. Well, speaking of creativity, maybe you can, shed some light on Bytes and Banter.
Yeah. So in a parallel universe that I currently live in, I am also the chapter lead for Women in Tech Africa here in Germany. So Women in Tech Africa is an organization that was founded in 2014 by Ethel Kofi. They started out with the first chapter in Ghana, and then they spread out within the African continent. And I joined from Germany in 2018. And the idea of this organization is really to promote women tech entrepreneurs, to give them the space to be able to let their lights shine, to be able to engage young women and girls also, to have interest in technology. That there's this tendency that when you talk about tech, you don't necessarily link women with tech or link girls with tech, because it sort of goes back to, oh my God, that means I have to do math, right? And my math is not good. So sometimes we just shoot ourselves in the legs. So how can we be role models for those who are coming? And how can we showcase the women that are also there? Because these women are also part of the African story. And how do we use technology? How can we leverage technology to benefit the African continent? So in a nutshell, Women in Tech Africa, the mission is these three things: encourage young girls and women to look into technology as a future career possibility. Then, of course, to showcase women who are doing great things, women of African continent who are doing great things, not only on the continent, but also in the diaspora, to be able to help change, of course, that African narrative that we know. And of course, to be able to leverage technology to help Africa push its agenda forward. And lockdown has brought up, many things, because normally we have each chapter has events that they organize once a quarter in their different locations. And we have a Women in Tech week once a year, usually around that September, October side. But the pandemic sort of threw a screw in a number of things that we wanted to do this year. So I just thought, what could we do while we're sitting at home? And how can I help in some form? I can't physically, talk to people, but maybe if I interview different women from their different backgrounds and allow them to tell their story during this time, it helps people engage. Maybe it also, it helps people understand that there's a whole lot more that is happening on the African continent than that they know. And of course, maybe to try and lighten the mood. I know people are in like Zoom calls back to back these days, but I thought this is just my little contribution from Women in Tech Africa to be able to just drive discussion and view on technology, on these women, what it is that they're doing, and to applaud them for the great things that they're doing.
Wow. And so you've done an amazing thing over there, I have to say, because you have featured and interviewed quite a number of women that we all can learn from. So I have to applaud you, especially as you say, what can you do?
It was, for me, it was so amazing to listen to these women talk about what it is that they're doing, and I'm thinking, here I am in my 9-to-5 job, and these are people who are shaking the world, who are doing stuff, and it makes me so
But you're
proud.
also shaking the world.
I know, but I prefer to help other people shake the world.
Lovely, lovely. Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Oh, well, what can I say? It's just positive all round. It's as you say, you thought about what can you do, during this lockdown, and you just turned it around by, starting Bytes and Banter and interviewing these women, and it's just an amazing thing. I like to basically let the listeners know, Bytes and Banter, if you can go on YouTube, Google Bytes and Banter Women in Technology, and you would find Ola Styler, and you would find some of the interviews that she's already done. It's all available for you, and of course, if you want to be featured, you can also reach out to her, and of course, you have a couple of chats and understand what it is that you want to talk about and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Super. So, thank you very much.
No problem. All the things you've mentioned are amazing. Does it sound like you have another next challenge coming up that you probably will want to take up and basically give a thumbs up or give a blow and blow it up? Say, okay, I'm taking on this challenge. Anyone coming along your way? Any challenge coming along your way?
It sounds very, very small, but I think the biggest challenge I have right now is promoting myself. It's the biggest challenge. I feel sometimes I feel a little bit like an imposter. So actually putting myself out there and talking about what it is that I do is it's I won't say it's a problem for me, but it's something that I need to overcome. And to understand that, I am capable of all these things, but I hide behind my shadow. I love to encourage people to do that. I love to support them doing it. But me, myself, I prefer taking, the back row and watching you do your thing. But there's no point to actually hide this, under the table. So my next challenge is actually trying to be comfortable with who I am and what it is that I am doing, and to actually also, I guess, acknowledge myself that I actually do know a couple of things, which I think I don't know. The first thing that you say to yourself is, oh my God, I can't even do that. How can I do that? And then somebody tells you, but you did this, and you're like, yeah, well, that's true, actually. Okay, fine. So it is true that I can do it. But, not to doubt myself, because, that's something that goes on in your head quite a bit. You think back and forth, and you're like, oh man, I'm not capable. Look at how much they've done. Look at how far they've come. And the yardstick is always somebody else. It's not yours. So my goal for this year is try to be more comfortable in my skin with what it is that I do, and accept it for that which it is. Right.
That's super important. And you've talked about how your next challenge is basically how to promote yourself, and if you like to hear this for free, a lot of people actually have this challenge as well, like wanting to stay behind the scene and encouraging people, but I think it all comes with humility, being humble and just doing the best that you can. And I see now you want to take that on and give yourself a little bit of push, and I really applaud you for that, because that's an amazing thing. And like I always say, we need to celebrate one another. You deserve all the pat in the back that you can get. I get it. Sometimes we don't want to give ourselves that pat in the back, and that's okay. But sometimes we really should, especially when you've done so much. You don't necessarily need to even wait for the next person to go, hey, well done. Sometimes you just go, actually, well done to me. And
celebrate yourself. Sometimes we just forget in the thick of things, and then at some point in time when you can calm down and you can sort of review what you've done, you're like, oh wow, that's really not bad. But okay, I'm not gonna tell anybody, this is gonna remain mine. And you read people, on LinkedIn when they write that, I'm like, oh, I'm so jealous that they could put that in there. If I put it in there, they'll probably think, oh, she's trying to suck up to herself again and stuff. So I really need to get there, but it's something that I've taken for this year that I will do.
Oh, please, by all means, just get it done. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Do it. Just get it done. So, well, Ola, this is all amazing. And yes, we now know, what you want to, take up and get done. And that's to promote yourself. And we see, and I know I've personally experienced, how you've helped to push people for the better, especially with the Bytes and Banter project. But there's one thing I want to know, or probably want our listeners to also know, is who is Ola? Who are you? Who's the woman behind all of this? There's got to be something there, Tell us. I want to know.
I am like but they probably won't believe me. I call myself a quiet mouse. Occasionally I am, but I guess my parents, when I was younger, they used to say that everybody was my friend. Everybody was always my friend. So I've always been out there. I've always been very friendly, but the older I become, the more should I say introverted I become. I am a person, I love to read. I have 3 children. I grew up in Nigeria. Well, I was born in the US, grew up in Nigeria, went to school in Austria, studied in the US, live in Germany. So I've sort of been around.
You're quite international.
Yes, I love to travel. I love to, different cultures. I like to experience different cultures, because I think for me it has helped in the relationship with other people. I think this is very important, because you understand where they're coming from. If you understand their traditions, you also understand why they're behaving a certain way. I love to read. I love to ride my bicycle. But in all, I love a day where I don't have to do anything, where I just, chill and not have to think about anything. And I find out that in this COVID times, it's been a bit more challenging, because work hasn't really changed, and my work in the office or at home is pretty much the same. And, so finding that balance between work and home life has been difficult during this period. But when the weather is nice, I do take a walk. I play tennis, and when things are really, really cool, I bring out my sewing machine and I sew a couple of masks, face masks. That was like necessary.
That's amazing.
Exactly. But on the whole, I could be a very chattery person, but I love engaging with people. I love learning from people, and it's been, I guess my life has been quite exciting up till this point.
Yeah, it does sound very exciting. Honestly, just like you, I like to just get a lazy day in. Honestly, I do love lazy days. However, unfortunately, it just doesn't seem to be me. I just can't seem to have that lazy day.
Really? No,
I guess the only time I'm lazy is when I'm traveling. I think that's the only time, and I haven't done that since COVID started. So
Okay, no, I could so do it. When I was younger, my father, I think till today also, my father still does a siesta. And as I was growing older, it improves the quality of life. Honestly, if you actually have the possibility of taking like a 10 minutes nap on your table, sometimes when you're so tired, when you wake up, you're recharged. It's very, very short, but you're recharged. And I've gotten to points where I have actually had to just put my head on the table, extremely uncomfortable, but I've actually been able to, wake up and say, oh, okay. But, a day where you wake up very late, you have breakfast very late, you have a book, the weather is nice, you sit outside. Well, I could do that. I could do that.
Yeah.
And, my books are just piling up. I'm just staring at them because I'm like, someday you will get, when you're reading one page here, one page there, and you're falling asleep because you're halfway through the second page. I need days just to focus on that. But I found out that it's very necessary to have those days just so that you can recharge your batteries and come back to work refreshed.
Yes.
It
totally agree. Totally agree with you 100%. So our listeners, I hope you can all hear that. Some of us are crazy workaholics. We don't need that. We're human at the end of the day, and we really need to take a step back and recharge and rest. Very important. And I'm going to take that up. I mean, lately I've been waking up late. By late, I'm talking about 8 a.m. So, and 8 a.m. is really not late. But on weekends, I intentionally stay in bed until 9:30. Once it's 9:30, then I can drag myself out. So, yeah. But that's, because, of course, work still continues. So, but in any case, I would like to ask one final question. Yes, Ola. Right, Ola. Hi again. So what I wanted to round this up with was basically it's amazing hearing all that information about how we need to take care of ourselves. It's very, very important. We need to recharge. Now, if you would like to leave our listeners with a nice party, what would you like to tell them?
Personally, I would say, do not be scared of new beginnings. And I think at this point in time, many people are having to pivot their plans or try and rethink a number of things that they're doing, maybe initiatives that they're doing. Don't be scared of new beginnings. It might be the path to reinventing yourself. You never know. But, sometimes, if you're scared to leave what you had before, then you can't really make the next step because you're scared of the loss. But meanwhile, you've amassed so many transferable skills also to help you, in the next step. And of course, always reach back to mentors and sponsors that you have, and coaches also if you are unsure.
Right. Well, thank you so much. That's actually a very important one. Reach out, because it's not everyone that feels comfortable reaching out. It's so important to reach out. And for those that don't have mentors and coaches, reach out to someone, a friend or someone, elderly, and, coaches and mentors can be recommended to you. So yes, this is so important, and thank you so much for it. We really appreciate you. We really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me. It was fun.
Thank you. Yes, it was so much fun. Thank you. And I have learned a whole lot. I truly have. And I guess with every episode, I just keep getting something new. This is just amazing. Thank you so much, Ola. Well, I'd like to say thank you to our listeners as well. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us this evening. And it is Bimbola signing out of BlueSitron. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye. Hi, Ola. Good evening. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Hi, Bimbola.
Hi, welcome to the BlueSitron Podcast, and it's amazing to have you here. I'm always saying amazing to all my guests, and that I guess is because everyone is amazing. So
I feel honored.
Wouldn't want anything otherwise. I wouldn't want it otherwise. So yeah, thank you so much. So Ola, I would like you to. I'm gonna make an effort to pronounce your name. So it's Ola Stella. Correct?
So you can imagine it being an SHT.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Stella, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I made an effort. That's lovely. So we have Ola Stella here. And Ola is one of the leading women within the IT world in the West. So, and she's got a couple of projects that I personally have been involved in, and it is called the Bytes and Banter. I'm not going to say too much. I'm going to allow Ola to tell us more about that. So, Ola, I'm going to start with, basically talking about, or you telling us about your career path, because I know you're in IT. What got you into this career path? How did that begin? And what led you to start this Bytes and Banter project? That would be a good way to start.
Okay, sure. Then I can take it from here. Thank you very much for having me this evening. I my career path is it's actually quite interesting because I didn't start out with IT in mind. My background is actually in languages, so I majored in German and French. And at that point in my life, I was thinking of being a lecturer. I guess at the back of my mind, I've always wanted to be able to either pass on knowledge or information to people or help people in general. And so I did my first degree in German and French, and then I went on to do a master's in Germanic languages and literature. So still with that background of wanting to teach. And then when I now started looking for a job, that's when I realized that what I had wasn't enough. And I had to rethink what it is that I wanted to do. So we're a family of 4, and I'm pretty much the only one who did humanities. My brothers did economics and civil engineering, and I think electrical engineering. And I was one who, I guess maybe because I was shying away from everything mathematics, didn't really go into that area. So I think there was a time I had this pipe dream of being a translator at the UN, until I actually saw what they were doing, especially the simultaneous translators. Until I saw what they were doing, I was like, man, my memory just can't hold that much stuff to be able to, say all the stuff that, I'm already on the second level, and then, they're talking. So what I did basically was I did an internship. After I finished my master's, I did an internship with the UN to try and see whether it would be something of interest to me. And at that time, I worked with IAEA, that's the International International Atomic Energy Association. It belongs to the UN itself, and I helped them build up a database. So it was basically looking for, at that time it was Netscape. Going online, going online to try to look for newspapers or articles or information to help try and see whether we can find out about the country's nuclear proliferation, information that we didn't have. So I put stuff together at that time. So the languages did actually was helpful then. But after that 1 month there, it wasn't really my dream to work in the UN. It was nice, but it wasn't something that I saw that would be my career path. And then I did an internship with SAP. And I started out basically. I started out as an intern, and what I was told then was, please help us call the customers in German or in French and let them know that our engineers need to access their system so we can try and fix their problems. It was, I didn't really have to do much. I just had to use the languages. And then I just figured that it was very interesting. I wanted to start to get into what it is that these engineers were doing, because they were support engineers at that time. And you would get from the customer, you would get this, blah, 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 this is not working, or I've done this and it didn't work. Please troubleshoot. Then I started to pick up tickets myself. And then it was really great because there was no expectation that I needed to fix, either that I needed to, provide